It's remarkable how much someone can alter their face and still expect people to see the same person beneath it all. Meghan Markle has always been intentional about her public image, but lately the changes feel less like refinement and more like a complete reinvention. The Meghan who once proudly embraced her Markle nose, even thanking her father for it in a heartfelt Father's Day post, is gone. Now, her nose appears slimmer, more elevated, the bridge smoothed, the tip shortened. The shape is entirely different. And it's not just her nose. There's visible filler along her jawline, in her cheeks, and even near her hairline, strategically placed to lift everything upward. It's the same upward pull people mimic in the mirror when they imagine what a facelift might look like. The difference? Hers is permanently sculpted into place. What's truly interesting here is the possible motivation. On the surface, it could be dismissed as routine cosmetic upkeep, but look closer, and it feels more like a conscious step away from her roots. That Father's Day post wasn't only about her dad, it was about identity. She linked her features to him, to a working class background, to a version of herself that wasn't yet polished into Hollywood royalty. Now, it's as if she's surgically erasing any physical reminder of that connection. This isn't just a beauty tweak, it's a full-scale rebrand. The timing makes the transformation even more telling. Her public circle has narrowed to a small group, and those who remain seem more like PR allies than genuine friends. Her recent birthday was a prime example. The celebration? Dinner at a Beverly Hills restaurant, well known but no longer one of the city's hottest spots. Funky, an Italian place with decent ratings and a Michelin guide mention, but no star. It's the kind of venue you'd expect an influencer to tag, not someone positioned as a major Hollywood figure. Even more telling, she didn't land a rooftop table, the most sought-after section, hinting at her current level of pull. She shared the evening online as though it were a grand event, thanking family for making it special. But a closer look at the guest list reveals notable absences. No father, no mother. Doria, by most accounts, has stepped back from Meghan's daily life. And Harry? Nowhere to be seen, missing from both the dinner and her recent public outings. Instead, the photos feature a carefully chosen few. Angles are framed to block out others at the table. The whole scene feels controlled, not dazzling, but intentionally crafted to reveal only what she wants, and perhaps hide more than she shows. And then there were the birthday messages she shared. Polished, coordinated, and strangely impersonal. They read less like heartfelt notes from friends, and more like scripted press releases. Each one hit the same beats, calling her fun, generous, magical, as if everyone had been handed the same list of approved phrases. There were no inside jokes, no shared memories, no warmth that made you believe these were unfiltered sentiments. It felt like a brand rollout, not a birthday celebration. Which brings us back to the bigger picture. Meghan has been trading the personal for the performative for years. But as her appearance changes, the gap between image and reality becomes harder to ignore. Her face is smoother, sharper, more symmetrical than ever. Yet the life behind it appears smaller. Less family, fewer genuine friends. And judging by what she chooses to show the world, perhaps fewer people she truly trusts. The surgeries and fillers may give her the aristocratic angles she's aiming for, but they can't fill the empty seats at her table. The changes to her nose are the most obvious, but hardly the only adjustments. Look closely, and you can see the architecture of her face rebuilt in layers. Cheek filler creates a continuous high line from her temples to the apples of her cheeks, erasing the natural hollows she once had. Jawline filler subtly squares it off, sharpening her lower face, while the skin looks pulled without the telltale signs of a full facelift. Even her forehead has a new fullness, something hydration alone could never achieve. It's a carefully executed blend, not the overfilled look that screams plastic surgery, but precise enough to completely change how light moves across her face. This transformation isn't just about beauty, it's about control. Every injection, every subtle shift to her nose or jaw alters how people perceive her. She's crafting a version of herself that appears more refined, more upper class, the kind of face that belongs in an aristocratic portrait. And for someone from her background, that image isn't inherited, it's manufactured. Her public outings now seem to echo this manufactured image. Even the restaurant she chose for her birthday appeared strategic. but the choice misfired. Bunky's reputation as a place to be seen peaked seasons ago. The pasta may still be good, but the buzz has moved on. The last major celebrity sighting there was Kim Kardashian in October 2023. The selection may have been meant to signal exclusivity, but instead it suggested she was chasing a scene that had already passed. The guest list optics told a similar story for someone supposedly surrounded by high-profile connections. The visible attendees were few, and the photos were framed to keep them indistinct. In one image, a candle conveniently blocked out an entire guest, as if their presence wasn't meant to be acknowledged. Speculation points to Marcus Anderson and Abigail Spencer among the attendees, but it was the absence of her closest relatives and her husband that spoke the loudest. The tributes themselves reinforced the PR feel. Abigail Spencer called her champagne in human form and a creature unlike any other, phrases so stylized they sounded like ad copy. Another friend's post checked every publicity box, name-dropping her Netflix series, praising her generosity, describing her as love and light, yet offering nothing about actually spending time with her. It was all polish, perfectly on brand, yet empty of the intimacy you'd expect from true friendship. It's a clear pattern. The settings are carefully chosen, the guest lists tightly controlled, and the words spoken about her sound rehearsed. It's a life where image takes priority over substance, where appearances, both physical and situational, are adjusted until they fit the narrative she wants to project. The irony is that in sculpting this flawless, untouchable version of herself, she's only made the gaps in her world more visible. The sharper her jawline becomes, the more her real connections seem to fade. The question is whether these changes are born from insecurity, strategy, or both. There's a certain desperation in constantly reshaping the outer shell, as if a more photogenic nose or a perfectly contoured jaw could rewrite public perception. It's the mindset of someone convinced that acceptance is earned through appearance rather than authenticity. Yet perfection, or the pursuit of it, often draws more attention to the insecurities it's meant to conceal. When every angle is calculated, every image vetted, and every social moment staged, it creates a barrier between the person and the people they're trying to reach. Public figures who lean too heavily into curation risk losing the imperfections that make them relatable. In Meghan's case, the polish has replaced warmth. There are no candid moments, no unguarded laughs, no casual group photos without perfect lighting, nothing to make her feel approachable. A brand can be admired, even envied, but it's rarely loved. That absence of genuine affection, the kind that can't be bought or sculpted, feels like what she's chasing through her cosmetic transformations. The lack of visible family ties only strengthens the impression of isolation. People understand estrangements and complicated relationships, but when the closest bonds are severed without explanation, it leaves a void. Her father is publicly absent. Her mother, once ever present, has vanished from view. The children, who could have been the emotional centerpiece of a birthday, are conspicuously missing. Even her husband's presence is uncertain, reduced to a brief mention without a single shared photograph. In a time when even the most private celebrities offer glimpses of their inner circles, that silence says more than words could. For someone who once marketed herself as relatable and grounded, the pivot toward exclusivity has been steep. Gatherings now feel less like celebrations and more like orchestrated PR events. Guests have their own public images to protect, and the interactions come across as networking, not friendship. The restaurant choice, the carefully worded tributes, the strategic camera angles, they're all pieces of a larger game where perception reigns supreme. Her cosmetic work fits seamlessly into that picture. By altering features linked to her family heritage, she's not just refining her look, she's editing the visual record of where she comes from. The Markle nose her father gave her was once a point of pride. Now, its absence feels symbolic, a deliberate erasure of anything that doesn't align with the elite persona she's building. This isn't unusual in high-profile circles, but the speed and scale of her transformation make it stand out. What's left is someone caught between two worlds. She sculpted herself to look like she belongs in aristocratic settings, yet the social capital that usually comes with that image seems just beyond her grasp. The rooftop tables remain out of reach. A-list invitations are rare. The admiration she wants from certain circles is polite, but distant. It's a liminal space. The image says exclusive, but the reality feels fragile. If the aim was to be untouchable, she's achieved it, but perhaps not in the way she intended. Untouchable in beauty, yes, but also untouchable in the sense that fewer and fewer people appear genuinely close to her. The edges of her life, like the contours of her face, have been sharpened and perfected. Yet perfection can be cold, and in creating an image with no room for flaws, she may have also left no room for the kind of connection that can't be staged.